Meet Sarah and Mark. Together, they make well over $100,000 a year. To most of the world, they've made it. They live in a beautiful suburban neighborhood, drive cars with heated seats, and post incredible vacation photos on Instagram. But behind closed doors, Sarah and Mark are drowning. If their car breaks down tomorrow, they'll have to put the repair on a credit card. They haven't contributed to their retirement accounts in 2 years, and the stress of their monthly bills keeps them up until 2 a.m. They represent millions of middle-class families who appear successful, yet quietly live under enormous financial pressure. How does a six-figure income result in absolute financial panic? Welcome back to Road to Wealth. Today, we are looking at how ordinary, hardworking individuals make terrible, invisible choices with money every single day, and the exact steps you can take to break the cycle. When Mark got his first job out of college making $45,000, he lived in a tiny apartment, ate cheap meals, and drove an old hatchback. He was doing just fine. 5 years later, after 3 promotions, his income doubled. Naturally, Mark felt he earned the right to upgrade. He got a house, started eating at nicer restaurants, and traded the hatchback for a brand new truck with a $725 monthly payment. Here's the tragedy. Mark's income doubled, but his savings rate stayed at exactly zero. This is the psychological trap of "I deserve this." Ordinary individuals treat every increase in income as an excuse to increase their expenses, rather than an opportunity to buy back their freedom. They assume that wealth is measured by what you spend, when real wealth is actually defined by what you save and invest. When we look at ordinary financial mistakes, it rarely comes down to buying too many lattes. It comes down to massive structural choices that completely lock up a person's cash flow. Mistake number 1, the financing fallacy. Ordinary people no longer ask, "How much does this cost?" They ask, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" By financing cars, furniture, and even clothing through buy now, pay later apps, they completely slice up their monthly income before they ever touch it. We've trained ourselves to think in monthly payments. Let's say Mark wants a new truck. The sticker price is $58,000. If someone asked him, "Would you like to spend $58,000 today?" Most people would immediately say no. But the dealership asks a completely different question. How does $725 a month sound? Suddenly, the conversation changes. The truck doesn't feel like a $58,000 purchase anymore. It feels like only $700 a month. That's the illusion. Because your brain isn't comparing the truck to its actual price. It's comparing $725 to this month's paycheck. The same thing happens everywhere. That $3,000 living room furniture set, no payments for 12 months. The newest smartphone, only $39 a month. A new laptop, just $42 a month. Designer clothes? Split your purchase into 4 easy payments? Vacation? Travel now, pay later. Every purchase feels small because you're never shown the total cost. Here's where the trap begins. 1 monthly payment isn't the problem. Neither are 2. It's when they begin to stack. The mortgage, the truck, car insurance, the furniture, internet, cell phones, the smartwatch, the vacation, the gym membership, the streaming subscriptions. None of them seem expensive by themselves, but together, they quietly consume your future income before you've even earned it. Imagine receiving your paycheck, and before you buy groceries, before you invest, before you save a single dollar, half your income already belongs to someone else. Not because you're irresponsible, because months or even years ago, you promised pieces of your future paycheck to dozens of different companies. Every financing agreement is a claim on your future, and eventually, your future arrives. 2 weeks later, Sarah's paycheck arrives. The second paycheck feels like a fresh start, until reality catches up. Credit card, SUV payment, utilities, groceries, daycare, little by little, another paycheck quietly disappears. From Mark and Sarah's combined $8,000 monthly paycheck, only $870 remains. $870 sounds like a lot until life happens. For generations, buying a home has been called the American dream. It's a symbol of success, stability, a place to raise a family, and for many people, it can be one of the best financial decisions they'll ever make. But there's a difference between buying a home and buying too much home. That's where the dream quietly becomes a trap. When Sarah and Mark met with the bank, they weren't asking, "How much house should we buy?" They asked, "How much house can we afford?" But notice something important. The bank wasn't trying to make Sarah and Mark wealthy. The bank was calculating the largest monthly payment they believed Sarah and Mark could make. Those are 2 very different goals. Being approved for a $650,000 mortgage doesn't mean it's the smartest financial decision. It simply means the bank believes you'll probably make the payments. Your mortgage isn't the cost of owning a house. It's simply the minimum you'll pay every month, because homes have an incredible ability to surprise you. The roof begins leaking. $18,000. The water heater quits. $2,000. Property taxes increase. Insurance premiums rise. A storm damages the fence. The driveway cracks. The deck needs replacing. Landscaping plumbing issues. The list never ends. Unlike renting, there's no landlord to call. You are the landlord. Here's where the real damage happens. The mortgage doesn't just cost money, it changes every other financial decision. Sarah and Mark stop investing because they're too busy this year. Their emergency fund never grows. Vacations go on a credit card. When the car needs repairs, they borrow. Not because they're irresponsible, because every extra dollar already belongs to the house. They're living in one of the nicest neighborhoods in town, while quietly becoming poorer every month. This is what financial planners call being house poor. You own a beautiful home, but the home owns your cash flow. Now imagine two families. Both earn exactly the same income. The first buys the largest house the bank approves. The second buys a home that's 20% less expensive. That difference might save them $500 or even $1,000 every month. Instead of spending it, they invest it. Month after month, year after year. After 30 years, that simple decision could grow into hundreds of thousands or even over $1 million, depending on market returns. Not because they earned more, because they gave their money room to grow. The bigger house looked richer. The smaller house built wealth. A year after moving in, Sarah and Mark finally understood what happened. It wasn't one catastrophic mistake. It was hundreds of ordinary decisions, quietly draining their paycheck. Every month brought another expense. Furniture for the empty rooms, landscaping to maintain curb appeal, property taxes, insurance premiums, repairs they never saw coming, maintenance they never planned for. Individually, none of these costs seemed overwhelming. Together, they quietly consumed every raise, every bonus, and every opportunity to build wealth. The house hadn't ruined their finances. The decision to buy at the absolute edge of what they could afford had. Because the biggest mistake wasn't buying a home. It was believing that if the bank approved the loan, they could comfortably afford it. Banks calculate how much debt you can carry. They don't calculate how much wealth you'll build. Those are two very different numbers. From the street, every house tells a different story. Some look rich while quietly drowning in payments. Others look ordinary while building extraordinary wealth behind closed doors. Because the wealthiest house on the block doesn't always belong to the wealthiest family. Sometimes, it's the family living in the modest home, driving the older car, ignoring the pressure to keep up, quietly investing every month. While everyone else is buying granite countertops, they're buying something far more valuable: choices, time, freedom, and that's the real road to wealth. If this episode changed the way you think about money, let me know in the comments. What's the biggest financial trap you've avoided or fallen into? If you're ready to stop chasing the appearance of wealth and start building the real thing, subscribe to Road to Wealth, because every great financial future starts with one better decision. And I'll see you in the next episode.